Ladies and gentlemen, this is your seatbelt. To fasten, insert the metal lip into the buckle and tighten by pulling the strap. To release, lift the flap and pull the ends apart.
It's time for your flight to take off. And whether you spare him a thought or none, he's right now on the job, directing your pilot to the designated runway, giving him or her every bit of information needed for a smooth takeoff and beyond.
Jet 1314 clear to Shamshabad via Romeo 457. Flight level 240. After departure runway 27, turn right. Proceed direct to Bravo India Alpha. Climb to flight level 240. Squawk 0236. 1314 runway 27 clear for takeoff. Wind calm.
Your flight lifts away from the ground in a graceful arc into its pre-designed path in the sky. Just think for a moment of that person in the glass dome tower who ushered you onto the heavens. Spread the wings of your imagination and visualize two handicaps of an airborne aircraft as compared to a ground vehicle. 1. It can't stop and stand idly in midair. And 2. It doesn't have a reverse gear. The average speed of a moving flight is approximately 12 kilometers per minute and 700 kilometers per hour. A supersonic speed flight can't change or divert its direction on coming upon mountain peaks or the aircrafts that approach from the opposite direction. Hence, if 2 or more aircrafts come closer than permissible, chances of collision are gravely high, given their high momenta and the handicaps. As the planets move in their orbits, the flights too have to move in their pre-planned pathways. 12,000 feet away from Earth, the passengers have complete trust in the pilot that he'll steer them through the skies and bring them down at their destination safe and sound. With hundreds of lives in his hands, the pilot in turn trusts other capable hands back on Earth, other eyes that scan the skies conscientiously and guide him from ground, the hands and eyes of unknown superheroes, the air traffic controllers.
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
Consistently regarded around the world as one of the most mentally challenging careers, requiring complete concentration, is that of air traffic controller, or ATC. To err is human, but an air traffic controller does not have the luxury of even a single error. A job which expects superhuman qualities from humans. A zero-error profession, for which one is picked carefully and groomed intensively. P. Kirubakaran, Deputy General Manager, ATC Madurai, appears to enjoy his profession.
அதாவது ஒரு த்ரில்லிங் ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் ஒரு புதிய அனுபவம் ஏன்னா
Oh, it's a thrill. Qualification is not the only thing needed in requirement of this post. The selections are based on the IQ power and the skill. To mold the skill and equip us, situations are created and we are forced to manage the situations in the training period itself. We come across different types of experiences on our own and as the spectator too. These types of experiences and the special trainings shape us to handle any type of difficult situation. In addition to that, we too enhance our skills based on the different situations we come across.
டைப் ஆஃப் ட்ரைனிங் வந்து எங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துருக்காங்க, இன்னொன்று நாங்களும் வளர்த்துக்கிறோம்.
Now, let's take you to the Madurai Airport Traffic Control Tower, where the flow of air traffic is steered adroitly. The view through 360 degrees of big picture windows is pretty stunning. The sunbeams stretch their arms to the west. The orange-dressed sky is mellow and beautiful. In the northeast, spongy clouds bear the promise of an impending shower, and the beholder's heart leaps in a joy. But the air traffic controller does not notice any of this. He is like the Arjun of the Mahabharata. Nothing other than the flights attract his eyes. All he knows are flights and runways. His neurons speak only of the execution of the flight plan, with safe landing and takeoff. From the tower, we can see 2 flights from Chennai at different heights, getting ready to land at Madurai Airport. And down below, a flight from Madurai is in the runway to take off to Chennai. It is the duty of the controller to clear the route for the flight to Chennai to take off safely and make way for the 2 flights from Chennai to land. The pilot of flight 9W2345 from Chennai seeks the permission of the controller to land.
Will be out of level 118 and 35 miles inbound, Mike Delta India, Airways 2345.
Airways 2345, sir.
Flight number 9W2345, which was in control of Trivandrum ATC, has been handed over to Madurai Air Traffic Controller. As indicated by the communication between the pilot and ATC, the flight is now 35 miles away from Madurai at 7,500 feet high. It is the task of the controller to assess the wind direction to regulate and direct the flight to land safely on the Madurai Airport runway.
Airways 2345, expect ILS approach runway 27 via DMR, number on no delay.
Copy, sir, Airways 2345.
Immediately after giving instructions to the first flight, ATC has to direct the descent of the second flight from Chennai to Madurai. The pilot informs the controller of the direction and height.
Madurai 609.
609 Madurai.
Release from Trivandrum, descending passing 1804.20, release 56 miles inbound on radial 060.
609, continue descent to flight level 100.
100, 609.
Flights 9W2345 and SG609 have commenced descent in the same direction. The controller needs to keep in mind that there are 2 different flights from 2 different airlines. Clearing away everything else from his mind, he focuses solely on the flights, makes all his calculations in the fraction of a second for the safe landing of both the flights. To add to his challenges, the pilot of the flight OP221 from Madurai to Chennai asks for takeoff clearance.
221, request taxi clearance.
9W2345 is now much closer to Madurai. It's the time to decide its final direction for descent. Before that, flight OP221 to Chennai has to depart. Instructions are given to track and line up on the runway number 27.
221, turn left taxi via Bravo, enter back to line up runway 27.
Taxi by Bravo, enter back to line up runway 27, 221.
Leaving space for the flight ready for departure. Both the arriving flights have to be coordinated in air. In order to avoid the northeast rainy clouds, both the flights are deviated from their paths. It becomes a Herculean task for the ATC to direct both the departing and arriving flights to take off and land safely without any time delay. The brain of the ATC works faster than time.
221, clear to Chennai via Romeo 457, flight level 170. After departure runway 27, turn right, SW020 radial Mike Delta India. Climb to flight level 170, resume normal navigation at Trivandrum control. Squawk 0236.
Condition Romeo 457, flight level 170, after departure runway 27, right 020 Mike Delta India, establish radial. Climb to flight level 170, further with Trivandrum, squawk 0236.
This is 221, clear street Bakara, climb up and wait.
Climb up and wait, 221.
ATC rechecks the position of the 2 arriving flights before issuing the final command for the OP Flight 221 to take off.
Commencing the answer, Airways 2345.
Airways 2345, Roger. Report crossing 050 radial Mike Delta India.
Confirm 050, sir?
Affirm.
Copy,
Thanks, 221, ready for departure.
Access 221, runway 27 clear for takeoff in 190 degrees 04 knots.
221, clear takeoff.
The flight to Chennai takes off and is now airborne. All the 3 flights are in the same airspace now, and ATC checks if all of them are horizontally separated. All these 3 flights are enclosed within a circumference of 25 kilometers. Too close for comfort.
Access 221 Madurai, airborne 28, turn right, establish 020 radial mic and report established.
Turning right, established on the 02 radio, call you established.
221 Madurai, stop climb at 5,600 feet.
Stop climb at 5,600 feet, 221.
09 Madurai, report radial crossing and DM distance from Mike Delta India.
So we are 38 miles inbound, descending passing 113.475, passing radio 055.
Departing flight OP221 and arriving flight 9W2345 are securely separated. The pilot of flight 9W2345 seeks the permission of ATC to land and is given a go-ahead.
Touch silence, sir, is 2345.
2345, runway 27 clear, plan wind 190 degrees 03 knots.
Left land to 27, is 2345.
SG Flight 609 is on its final approach. It has to descend slowly. The departing OP221 flight has already been horizontally separated from it, and the descent of 609 at this point will further ensure vertical separation of both. The communication between both pilots with ATC in standard aviation jargon paints a clear word picture.
That's 609 Madurai, report level.
5,300, 4,000.
That's 609 Roger. 221 Madurai, report level and DM distance from Mike Delta India.
Climbing out of 74, and we're 20 DME Mike Delta India.
221 Roger. Now proceed direct Tangatanga Romeo. Report in contact to Trandam Control on 125.9.
Call your contact with Trivandrum 221.
Though the safe separation has been done, ATC still keeps an eye on all the 3 flights. Now, flight 9W2345 makes a smooth landing on the runway. ATC instructs the pilot about its arrival bay.
Request 2345, land at 34, backtrack, vacate for taxiway Alpha to bay number 3.
Y Alpha to bay number 32345, Victor Tango Juliet Charlie Mike.
The pilot of SG609 now seeks permission to land and, after ensuring the safe arrival at bay of flight 9W2345 and the clearance of runway, permission is given to flight SG609 to land.
All the 609.
609 runway 27 clear, plan wind 210 degrees 03 knots.
Clear to land by 609.
Arrival bay instructions are given to this flight too.
609 land at 43, backtrack, vacate by taxiway Alpha to bay number 5.
Backtrack, vacate by Alpha to base 5 by 609.
09 Madurai, report registration.
Victor Tango Sierra Zulu Kilo Sus. On standby with Marshal 09.
609 Rotor Master, good day.
Great, sir.
Flight OP221, departed for Chennai, is at an altitude of 17,000 feet. The jurisdiction of Madurai Air Traffic Control is up to 14,500 feet, and hence, now the control of this flight is handed over to Trivandrum Air Traffic Control.
Madurai 221 and 2A with Trivandrum, climbing out of 126 for 170. We're 40 miles from Mike Delta India now.
221 Roger, figure change approach, good day.
Change frequency, Pegasus 221.
Trivandrum ATC will guide flight OP221 now along with all other flights in his airspace and then hand over its control to Chennai ATC. Chennai ATC will direct the flight for its safe landing. A smoothly choreographed movement that's a part of an intricate tapestry of movements. The story you heard till now is of the juggling of a mere 3 flights. Just imagine the challenges that accrue if there are 30 flights at a time in control of a single ATC. This is nothing short of a miracle. The astounding efficiency of ATC in handling 30 flights at a time. This matrix that keeps us spellbound requires a flight plan, says P. Kirubakaran, Deputy General Manager, Madurai ATC.
அதாவது வந்து ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் பண்ணுறது, அவங்களுடைய ப்ரோக்ராம் வந்து ஃபைல் பண்ணுவாங்க.
It's nothing but a filed program. See, this is Airbus 320 and its call sign is this, in which 120 passengers can travel. The details of travel and destination along with the fuel capacity should be filed. If the flight could not be landed in the destination, the nearby aerodromes and the facilities and equipments available to handle such crucial and critical situations will also need to be filed. Those filed details will be checked and confirmed. Moreover, this has to be coordinated with the needed en-routed aerodromes.
En-routeல இருக்கக்கூடிய aerodromes யாராட்ட நாங்க கோஆர்டினேட் பண்ணமோ எல்லாருக்கும் நாங்க டிசமினேட் பண்ணணும்.
The air traffic controller has the responsibility to ensure that each aircraft under his jurisdiction is at a minimum safe distance from every other aircraft within his airspace at any point of time. This minimum safe distance is called separation and is defined by International Council of Civil Aviation or ICAO guidelines, which duly specifies the minimum separation in feet or nautical miles between two aircrafts for different situations, like while they are flying one behind the other on the same route, or on converging or diverging routes, or one below the other. More from K. Murali, Secretary, ATC's Guild, regarding horizontal and vertical separation of flights.
ஒரே இடத்தில் இரு விமானங்கள் சந்திக்கின்றன என்றால் அவைகள்
If two flights meet in the same place, the distance should at least be a minimum of 1000 feet height. The horizontal distance will be decided based on the position of the flight. In this control, airports like Madurai do not have much facilities to observe the movements of flights, and hence the details are gathered from the pilots only. Whereas in higher grade airports like Trivandrum, Chennai, they have radar facilities to help ATCs to coordinate accurately regarding this vertical distance. In these phases, the horizontal separation distance will be a minimum of 20 kilometers. In the other phase controls like Chennai, Bengaluru, the horizontal separation distance can be minimized to 10 kilometers by using radar.
விமான கட்டுப்பாட்டு உபகரணங்கள் நமக்கு உதவி செய்கின்றன.
For the efficient guidance of flights in air, the airspace has been mapped by longitudes and latitudes named coordinates. Coordination based on this mapping is explained by K. Murali.
Generally, there are 4 phases in air traffic control. Every airport controls and coordinates the flights from the air traffic tower. This control is possible only up to 20 to 25 kilometer radial distance in the first level airports. The second level airports like Madurai and Trichy, they have little bit wider control of up to 50 kilometers radial distance and 14,000 feet altitude. In the third phase airports, this circumference is a bit enlarged up to 500 kilometers and 46,000 feet altitude with modern equipments. The fourth phase includes Indian Ocean, and the satellite-equipped automatic dependent surveillance pinpoints the position of the flights. From Chennai, the flights are controlled up to 46,000 feet altitude and 800 to 1,000 kilometers radial distance.
800 முதல் 1000 கிலோமீட்டர் பரப்பளவு வரை விமானங்கள் கட்டுப்படுத்தப்படுகின்றன.
Typically, controllers work on position for 90 to 120 minutes, followed by a 30-minute break. Except at quieter airports, air traffic control is a 24-hour, 365 days a year job, where controllers usually work rotating shifts, including nights, weekends, and public holidays. The communication between ATC and pilots takes place mainly over VHF using voice. Hence, generally an aircraft remains in voice contact with ATC throughout its flight. The construction of a runway is based on the topography of the area, and the direction and velocity of wind, explains K. Murali.
காற்று எந்த பக்கம் அடிக்குதோ அதை பொறுத்து தான்
wind pattern of the area is assessed for the past 30 years and the predominant direction is assigned to lay the runway as the landing and takeoff of the aircraft is into the wind. The flight penetrates into the wind in landing and takeoff.
முக்கியமான ஒரு இயல்பு.
An aircraft is always in the control of an ATC right from the moment the engine is turned on. The period from the starting of the engine to its positioning in the sky is known as departure. Junior ATC Vishnu Ram walks us through some of the phases for departure.
ஒரு ஃப்ளைட் டிபார்ச்சர்னு வர்றது பல அங்கங்களா பிரிக்கலாம்.
Without the permission of ATC, the aircraft cannot depart. Taxiing is that phase in which the aircraft moves to the runway under its own engine power from the parking through designated linkways. Based on the traffic, the ATC instructs pilot to choose a particular linkway for taxiing to reach the designated runway among the multiple runways. After lining up on the runway, the pilots wait for takeoff clearance. After getting the takeoff clearance, full engine power is applied. The aircraft starts rolling down the runway and speeds up. The pilot takes off and flies through the route cleared to the destination as per our instruction. This is the takeoff phase. The climbing of the aircraft up to 20,000 feet from the ground level cannot be attained instantly. They have to fly up gradually, and at every stage, the pilot takes command from the ATC to attain the cruising level as per the flight plan. This is the climbing phase. In this climbing phase, the pilot should not fly above the assigned altitude because there are many flights in air at various altitudes and directions. In cruising phase, the flight maintains the height uniformly. So, during departure, the flight goes through all these phases: taxiing, takeoff, climbing, and cruising.
So, இந்த மாதிரி பல ஃபேஸ்கள் தாண்டி தான் ஒரு டிபார்ச்சர் போகும்.
Mr. Karthik, Junior ATC, explains how the international flights fly continuously, crossing borders and time zones. Passenger and cargo flights cross neighboring countries, transcending friendliness or enmity. Up in the pathways of the sky, safety is the prime aim, not divisions created on earth.
The departed flight from the particular airport has to travel in the well-defined path. For example, if a flight departs from Madurai airport, it moves only in the particular path and the information of the aircraft will be tuned. Similar to the roadway traffic, numbering of path is done. For example, Chennai to Madurai airway has been numbered as R457. And the flights between Chennai to Madurai should take up this particular path only.
மதுரைக்கு வரணும்னா R457 ஒரு வழித்தடம் இருக்கு. அந்த வழித்தடம் வழியா தான் மதுரைக்கு வரணும்.
Junior ATC Mr. Mutarasu feels that despite charting and instruments, finally it is human skills that lands a plane safely from the crowded skies.
ஒவ்வொரு ஏர்கிராஃப்டை பொறுத்து மாறும். இப்போ பெரிய
A flight comes to our control and the charge is handed over to us after it descends from 26,000 feet to 14,000 feet. The landing procedure starts when the flight is within 25 miles and the pilot follows the arc in the procedure chart which leads the flight to 3 to 4 miles from the runway. In spite of the usage of instruments, landing a large aircraft smoothly and safely is always a challenge, and finally it's about human capability.
The level-headed manner with which these professionals handle this most demanding of professions cannot be emphasized enough. Despite advances in science and technology, emergency situations are faced with the failure of scientific equipment, feels Junior ATC Deepak Sempil.
வான்வெளி கட்டுப்பாடுன்றது மின்னணு சாதனங்கள்.
Actually, the entire emergency landing process is controlled from the desk of the ATC. The craft requiring emergency landing may be above all the 30 plus flights in the airspace at the time. Vertical and horizontal separations of all the aircrafts have to be adroitly managed and the particular craft to be safely guided to land without any injury to passengers or damage to this craft or other crafts in the airspace. This has to be done with immense skill by the ATC.
And how does a pilot perceive his eye on the sky? Someone with whom he shares invisible yet invincible bonds. Over to Captain Shobhan Raj.
In the 20 years of my adventurous journey, our whole journey is controlled and guided by the ATCs. Showers of my gratitude and greetings to them.
Did you know that when the ATC is transferred from one airport to another or posted again in the airport where he had worked earlier, it is mandatory to clear the written test and all the formalities as a fresher all over again. He can take up assignments only after clearing the test, proving his IQ skills and training. So, every time you wish safe journey to those embarking on a flight, do spare a moment to think about the significant and incredible work of the superhero who makes your wishes come true. It's time for your flight to take off. And as you check on your seat belt and sit back, who is it that you think of? Whose faces flash before your eyes? Loved ones left behind? Or the gods to whom you pray for safe travel?
First thing what comes to my mind is the thought of Almighty God.
I enjoy the flight. I don't remember anybody.
I think my mom.
I think of the pilot controlling the entire thing because we are nowhere, neither above nor below. In between we are.
मैं कभी plane में नहीं बैठी.
The food and the quality of food that is going to be served, and if at all there's going to be food at all.
On this UFO-shaped building in every airport of India, and there's this light that revolves around that building. But from movies and from documentaries, I've come to know that people inside are there, and it's a very high-pressure job. And they're basically just coordinating with aircrafts at various levels and various altitudes. I wish him all luck that is possible.
Come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly. Pack up, let's fly away.